All right. Quiet in the studio. We know that Trevor has some issues. We don't want to bring them out on this podcast, but we think he will.
Don't even go there.
Don't go there. Don't provoke him. Here we go. Well, good evening, Statsman.
Hello.
Are you okay, sir?
Fan Dabby Doze, are you?
Yes, I am. But I'm slightly perturbed at the Gazelle because he's willing. Well, let's put it this way. He's not a happy chappy, but he's happy to be in our company. Aren't you, Gazelle?
I'm very happy to be here, sir, but I'm just going to warn you before you start. If you poke the bear will bite.
And he is practically bare because he's in his dressing gown again. We got to do something about your costume. You cannot go into Parliament like that, sir. I'm telling you now.
And I had a friend of mine, he used to always go around and he used to always be singing. Mary had a little lamb, she also had a bear. I've always seen Mary's lamb, but I've never seen a bear. And that was just to open up.
Are you gonna be carrying those ladders about in Parliament?
Yeah.
Like Norman Collier carried a door window.
Like his door window, and my ladders will be there, because they are my main accessories.
So, is that so that you can actually get out of Parliament and climb up and get out of a window?
Yeah, because there's a lot of high doors in there. I don't know why, because we're all little people like me, but we still have high doors in there for some weird reason.
I reckon he'll be all right with his dressing gown on, though, John. He'll just have to do it up first, though.
Yeah, but I can get
Just
one of them rope things, a piece of string to tie around it, that's all.
I don't even know why he's going for a haircut, because he's been pulling his hair out all day with certain things.
And I'd love to give a big shout out to the electoral services in Wellington, but I can't.
We knew it was going to come out one way or another. We knew. So this is the electoral services in Warrington. Yeah. It couldn't be anywhere else, could it?
Don't mention him.
Okay. You mean the electoral services in Warrington?
Moving on.
Just don't mention him.
Okay. Well, this is another two-parter this week. I can't. This is another two-parter this week, and we're going to be going on and asking for comments from our Reform candidate in Warrington North about Nigel Farage's statement saying the West provoked Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Now, before you say anything, Trevor, about electoral services in Warrington and their connection to Russia...
Yeah, well, at least that cheered me up.
Let's get this sorted out from Statsman. Statsman, have a lead on this, right, and let us comment.
Yeah, we're here again, aren't we? It must be good. Literally, what did I say last week? Won't be long till he linked Farage to Russia.
Absolutely.
Well, it took less than a week. God, they're so predictable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, so they're trying to accuse Farage of being an apologist and a supporter of Putin. Of course they are. Wonder where they got this one from. Oh, that's right, America. They tried it and failed with Trump, so I don't know why these idiots are trying it. But so apparently he's an apologist. Now, it's another deflection, isn't it? From the fact he's hitting the nail on the head every day with all the things that are wrong in his country.
Correct.
And he wants to try and fix them. So I thought, rather than listen to the fake news, let's listen to what Putin himself actually says about why the war started. Now, Farage is meant to have said that the West have given him an excuse.
He said it in 2014, and while he was a MEP. And he had great knowledge there because he was in the European Parliament and he knew what they were doing. Sorry for the interruption, sir.
They just take a little piece of what he says and then they put the spin on it. But he didn't say he supported Putin. Quite the opposite if you listen to what he actually said. He said he doesn't support him. He's a madman. He might be clever at what he does. And basically, he's saying NATO and the EU, etc., gave him reasons or excuses.
Yeah.
So let's listen to what Putin actually says. In his words, fighting fiercely for its future, talking about Russia, repelling the aggression of neo-Nazis and their masters, the neo-Nazis refers to Ukraine, and their masters, NATO, etc. Well, America mostly. I wonder where did he get that from anyway, that America's full of Nazis? Oh, well, I know. The left. Because they're calling everyone far-right Nazis, so, you know.
But there was an American a very knowledgeable man who had an interview with Piers Morgan, who was saying that Putin did have a right to feel as if he was being encroached upon because they deposed a president in Ukraine, and it was CIA backed. And he said the president, Yanukovych, was deposed and they took over. And quite simply, right there was already an agreement in place with which the EU, the US, and the UK, and Russia had agreed. And it was called the Minsk Agreement.
Correct, yeah.
And that was already agreed. And then before you know it, next minute, all hell erupts because Zelensky and his mob have taken over. And Putin didn't like it because there was already an agreement in place. And they were all, everybody was sitting there saying, it's Russia's fault, it's Russia's fault. They actually wanted to find a peaceful way out of the argument. Now, everybody agrees that Putin is not your nicest next door neighbor, especially if you're Poland or any of those other countries, because he really wants to get, Russia back. That's all he is intending to do. He wants the old Russia back together again. And as far as everybody else is concerned, that isn't going to happen. Now, Farage was an educated observer. He never once said that he agreed with Putin. He never once was an apologist for him. He said he's a clever operator. And as you quite rightly said, Mark, he didn't actually agree with him. So why all this crap is coming out of the blue right now is probably obvious. And I'll go back to you, and then we'll go back to Trevor.
It shouldn't really matter what his excuses were. The actual point is Farage wasn't supporting him. He literally wasn't. He said the opposite. And again, just listen to what's his name? Sergei Lavrov, he's the foreign minister. He says the same, that Russia will never abandon the supposed goal of eliminating the Western-backed neo-Nazi danger. Western-backed. He means NATO. That Parogskin, whatever his name was, the one he had him killed on a plane. He actually believes that it was the Russian military leadership that have actually lied to Putin and made the threat more than it was. I mean, to believe America's full of Nazis is a bit odd. But again, these are just excuses to give to the public to justify the wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, pre-invasion, Putin said it was the anti-Semitism and genocide against Russia's foreign critics. In his own words, again, to eliminate the Nazi issue, he keeps repeating the same thing. Backed by the West. Again, so Farage is only pointing out what he said. He's not supporting him.
No, absolutely. Let's go over to the Gazelle. I will not mention the Warrington Electoral Services again.
Don't mention them.
All right.
No.
Are they Russian backed?
Yes.
That's what we want to know.
Yes. Well, I think yeah. Either or it's just one heck of a coincidence, and I do not believe in coincidences. Things happen for a reason. Anyway, so back to Mr. Farage. Never once did he say that he backed Putin.
Yeah.
He clearly pointed out, and he did it 10 years earlier, if you want to check.
2014 it was.
2014.
Yeah.
Well, exactly 10 years earlier then. I mean, that was just off the top of my head. Because quite at the moment, everything's off the top of my head. It's like a pressure cooker at the minute. Don't mention Warrington's Electoral Services. Right. So Mr. Farage said, or he didn't say, actually, he never once said that he backed Putin in any of that. So let me just say, one, it's the BBC. That's the end of that.
Well, the BBC didn't even go ahead and print the story. But the Daily Mail did.
It was the Mail on Sunday, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, well, the Daily Mail. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't say anything about that. He didn't say anything whatsoever. The election was called. A week later, Mr. Farage entered the arena. Wow. Reform. Farage.
Yeah,
all
true.
over the airwaves.
Yeah, absolutely.
All over the airwaves.
Yeah.
All over the airwaves, right? And
Was
here
it
we are,
all
3
over
weeks
the
in.
airwaves, Trevor?
It was all over the airwaves like the Warrington Electoral Services will be tomorrow. Right? And then we got to
Are you going to be the new hunter that's going in and taking over Town Hall in Warrington?
we got
You're going to go in there
got-
and just say, you are no longer in charge. You're out.
and I will be performing a what's it called? A junta, is it, tomorrow?
Hunter. Yes. You're going to be the Zelensky of Warrington.
I will be taking over the town hall tomorrow. And I'll go back to Mr. Farage, and here we are 3 weeks in. And Mr. Farage makes a statement, and everything else goes through the window. It's reform. Farage. Absolute genius.
Yep.
Taking over the airwaves yet again. And I can't wait for the next 5 or 6 days. What's he going to do next?
Well, he's taken away the narrative from all the rest of them, but he's
Exactly.
actually initiated a legal action. He has taken and instructed Carter Ruck to take legal action against the Mail.
I
Well,
think
you
that's-
wait, right? I've messaged him earlier on because you've seen me in all the national newspapers with Nigel.
Yes, we have seen that picture of you two together.
Yes, well, me and Nige.
You're just
And
like
I've-
that, and I'm showing 2 fingers.
Yes, and I messaged him earlier on, and I've explained about Warrington Electoral Services. So it will be, I think it'll be about 3 days before it'll be Warrington Electoral Services, Farage, reform.
Trevor Nicholls, MP for Warrington North. Charlotte Nichols, bye-bye. Out. Rouse.
Go back to your union roots.
Dun, 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 dun. Dee, da, 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 dee, dee. Hey, do you know we've had some comments? I'm going to come to Statsman now. We've had some comments because people are absolutely scared witless about the raid on pensions that Labour are actually being prophesized to be doing, and especially with inheritance tax. Go ahead,
I don't know where
Stats.
they get that from. I can't remember Gordon Brown doing that.
No. Well, it's happening now. They need the money. Go ahead, Stats.
Yeah, you were talking about Farage taking some legal action. I believe there might have been, from what I heard from the video, I've not had a chance to look it up yet because I only saw it earlier. Someone else has put something out and said they've contacted the Kremlin, who then have given them a statement which is meant to be about Farage. But then when you look at the statement, it doesn't even mention his name. So he thinks whoever this contacting the Kremlin was actually talking about someone else. So someone who's accusing Farage of being Russia, he's never even been to Russia. The people accusing him have been in contact with the Kremlin, yeah? Or honestly, you couldn't make this crap up, but they seem to do it regularly. They've been doing it to Trump for nearly 10 years, so I'm not sure why they think this is actually going to work.
They're desperate to discredit him. Desperate.
But all they're trying to do is they want him discussing this and not the important issues of our
policy.
time. Exactly. He's never been
Manifesto,
there. He's got
policy.
no connection.
And this is what everything is about. Getting
this
that
is why
policy right.
Yeah. We need to turn the tables now and go back and look at what was he discussing? Why are they trying to change the situation?
Yep. Who does it
You know,
affect?
It's just another distraction.
Yeah, that's it.
Massive.
He wants to keep
it is.
cash. Did you see those pictures of him in the pub where he was going to watch the match? And people were hugging him. I mean, what other politician would people just, go up?
Sadly, Jeremy Corbyn, but
No,
yeah.
not now.
Well,
Not now.
I don't know, mate. He still holds a crowd.
That Marie Le Pen, I'd give her a hug.
And Maloney.
They're
I'd give Maloney a
well,
couple.
Now we're off on a tangent.
well, they could, Mark is quite liking the Conservative candidate in Warrington.
No, I've seen her when she's not airbrushed.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Oh, you're not happy. You're not happy
So
now.
it's another robber's dog, is it?
You can do a lot with filters and airbrushes online these days.
Yeah, well, we
It
tried it
was.
with you and it didn't work.
I'll leave it at that. Oh no, I'm a lost cause. Like,
Well, so are we. I tried. Trevor said to me, he said, look, I need you to get rid of my chicken wings. I need you to make me thinner. And I tried, and the software, when the AI software came back to me and it said, I can't work miracles. It's impossible.
And I'll have you know that I was airbrushed. My friend Sally airbrushed me the other night, and it went out over the airwaves, and somebody come back and said, "Oh, look, a real live gammon." Well, I don't know what he meant by that. I think that was quite rude.
It was. You are. Well, I can honestly say that Lee Anderson is going to have a run for his money if you get into Parliament. I'm absolutely certain of it. Because anybody more down to earth than you, I'm sorry, but you are down to earth. I mean, you are so down to earth. I mean, you've got it underneath your fingernails, kiddo. I'm telling you now. No two ways about that.
I'm not down to earth. I've got a little thing dangling between my legs that goes straight to earth.
Oh, God.
It's the draw cords on his dressing gown.
I'm on about like a car where you got that little
yeah, all right,
thing.
okay. We get it. I'm editing that out. I'm not leaving that in. Okay.
Terrible.
Well, I have to say, as a gardener, I'm a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, we've heard.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, I've seen them little cucumbers you can get. I've seen.
Well, okay. Well, we've had a lovely, lovely little chat there about Mr. Farage, and we know that it's not going to affect you in the slightest, sir.
Here's a question: has anyone actually met anyone who actually believes this yet?
No, I've had absolutely no comments from anybody who's turned around and said, "Hey, have you heard about Farage and all the rest of that stuff?" You know, because you're supporting reform.
And like Trev says, it's just giving him more publicity, and everything they do. It was the same with Trump. The more they try and go after him, just the better it gets for the other. For them.
Well, we had the action day in Warrington Town Centre last week. Fantastic turnout again, and thank you everybody that turned up, apart from Warrington Electoral Services. And it was an absolutely fantastic day. And I never got asked the question once. And it happened the night before. Yeah. And not one person mentioned.
Well, there you go.
I think you'll probably find they've seen all this just rinsed and repeated now over and over again. And people just go, oh, God, what, Russia again?
Yeah.
God, here we go again.
Well, the truth of the matter is that people are now hearing from and getting their news from citizen journalists. And they're not interested in listening to the opinions of maybe 4 or 5 heads of major newspapers in this country. Yes. They've had enough of that.
Agree.
You know, they want to get the real news of what's going on. They're not interested in their opinions. So there you have it.
People are actually waking up.
I
believe they are waking up.
There is something happening out there.
There is, because all the media are trying to get subscriptions off people now.
I know.
It won't be long.
It won't be long. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Well, it's bye-bye from us for now. So say goodnight, Gazelle.
Good night, Gazelle.
All right. All right, love.
No, I'm not all right.
You should be on Coronation Street.
Don't mention Coronation Street. I'm missing it to make this podcast, and I'm fuming. Am I fuming?
Fuming. He says fuming. Statsman. Very well said. Good, great comments.
No
nice
problem. I'd just like to say good night to Putin. Sorry, no, I've never met him. Sorry, our lovely listeners.
Have you ever been to Russia? We want to know.
Never. No.
Okay. What's that hammer and sickle in the background there?
Yeah, but tonight I will actually admit that I'm on Putin's OnlyFans page.
You're just trying to court publicity.
His profile picture, is he on his horse with his top off?
Yes, and that's just a horse.